All right, guys, thank you for coming to this talk. Steve, thank you so much for having me. This has been an incredible event so far. I've spoken at a lot of events. This is one of my favorites so far. I love the quality of the people, the presentations, everything is done very well. So, guys, let's round of applause for Steve for putting on such an incredible show. The quality of the presentations have been incredible. I've learned a lot. So, today I'm talking about 360-degree insight into Amazon advertising. I'm gonna cover the thought process behind making sales on Amazon. It's basically two fundamental concepts: driving traffic and converting that traffic. So I'm gonna dive into that. I'm gonna talk about all the different types of traffic that you can drive, on Amazon and to Amazon, like to a certain degree. I'm not gonna cover like influencer marketing, things like that. I'm gonna talk about everything conversion related. Because a lot of people come to me and they say, my PPC sucks, and it's their conversion rate that sucks, not their PPC. So I'm gonna cover that. Quick background who I am. My name is Mina, I'm a chemical engineer by trade. Started a supplement brand in 2018, grew it, scaled it, and then in late 2020, an aggregator hired me to consult their team. I ran one of their brands, the advertising for one of their brands. They told me that I beat 6 other agencies that they hired. There was a lot of demand for me to start an agency, so ended up starting an Amazon advertising agency. We're 75 people now, about 140 something brands that we manage. And my goal has been pretty consistent since I started, is to empower everyone to take control of their Amazon advertising. Everything that you're gonna learn here is gonna be broken down in a very digestible way. So it's not gonna be like difficult. When I started, it was very rough for me, right? Because people would share all of these things and I never understood anything. And no one could ever explain it to me in a digestible way. So now I wanna give back and basically explain how all of this works. So whether you do it yourself, hire a virtual assistant, employee, hire an agency, you understand what's going on. So Amazon is very, very simple. Traffic and conversions, like with any other business. Driving traffic is bringing people to your listing. Conversion is making them convert. Now, there is a step in the middle, right? So driving traffic on Amazon is not bringing people to your listing. Driving traffic on Amazon is showing your listing in the search results. That's measured through impressions. So all of our advertising efforts that we do on Amazon, so launching campaigns, increasing bids, doing all of this stuff is just for getting impressions. Getting impressions means you're showing your product in front of people. Think of it like billboards, right? You're putting billboards up, people are seeing you. No one can come and say, my billboard didn't end up converting, like there's something wrong with the billboard. I mean, what if the messaging on the billboard was ugly, or what if you show up to the store and the store like it smells bad? That's why you didn't convert. So it's not just about the advertising side of things. It's also, there's a couple other steps. So PPC is showing your product to as many people as possible. And then the next step is people actually want to click on you. So on Amazon, you type in a keyword, electrolyte powder, you get a bunch of results. And then people need to choose one of those results and click on it. Now that's gonna be your click-through rate. And so I'll talk about the factors that affect the click-through rate. And then once they're in your listing, then a certain number of those people convert, and that's your conversion rate. And I'll talk about the factors that affect the conversion rate. But whenever you're thinking about your Amazon sales, your advertising, it's this funnel, right? At the top of the funnel is the number of impressions that you're getting. From there is the number of sessions that you're getting, which is the unique Amazon accounts coming into your listing, which is determined by your click-through rate. And then at the bottom, it's your conversion rate, the number of people that actually convert. And you constantly want to improve everything. You constantly want to improve the number of impressions that you're getting. You constantly want to improve the percentage of those impressions that turn into clicks and sessions, unique sessions, right? And then you constantly want to improve your conversion rate so you get more sales out of that same traffic. So, a lot of people will tell me, I have a 70, 80, 90% ACOS, what do I do? I'm like, show me your conversion rate. The conversion rate is 2.5%. I'm like, well, if you get 6% conversion rate, that'll solve the problem. And so a lot of times you don't look at just one thing, which is what is my return on ad spend. You look at, what are all of those 3 steps? Where am I struggling? Am I paying too much for that top of the funnel, which is the impressions and clicks? Or is my click-through rate not good enough? So millions of people are seeing my product, but they're just not convinced to click on it? Or is it a conversion rate problem? They're in there, I'm getting 100 sessions a day, there's 100 people coming into my listing a day, but only 2 of them decide to buy. So the most important thing is to understand the numbers. A lot of people go into this blind, and I went into this blind. I was in my campaign manager every single day. And what's in campaign manager? Your PPC spend, your PPC sales, your ACOS. ACOS is not accurate. It's completely not accurate because it doesn't take into account your total sales or organic sales. And we found that PPC sales and organic sales aren't broken up correctly. You can test this very simply. You're spending $100 a day on ads. Your PPC sales is 100, and your organic sales is 100. If you turn off your ads, you should hypothetically lose how much in sales? Anyone want to answer? Come on, easy. It's easy math. Your PPC spend is 100, your PPC sales is 100, your organic sales is 100. You turn off your ads, right? So how much should you lose? 100, right? You're just going to lose the PPC sales. But if you turn off your ads, you're going to lose a lot more than just your PPC sales, which tells you that there's one of two things. Either PPC sales and total sales are connected, or the attribution is wrong. I think the attribution is wrong. I just think that attribution is not correct. So what can I touch? What can I feel? I can feel my ad spend because that's going to get charged to my card. And I can feel the total sales because that's what shows up at the end of the day. Everything in between, we're not really sure if it's accurate or not. How do you know that your number of sessions is actually 100 and not 150? Because I don't know if you guys remember this, but our sessions used to be like 100 and conversion rate was 20. And then all of a sudden they made our sessions 1,000 and our conversion rate was 2%. And they're like, oh, we were excluding mobile sessions. Does anyone remember this? So I mean, for all these years, we were looking at wrong numbers. So that's why when I look at things, I try and look at things that I believe in. I'm an engineer, like a chemist, right? Like, what can I touch? What can I feel? What is impossible to be like proven wrong, right? And so obviously, the bank shows me this is your bank statement. Obviously, they could be lying, but to a certain degree. So metrics that you need to be following: your ad spend, your total sales, sessions, and the number of people coming into your listing, the cost per session. Now again, sessions could be not accurate, but if it stays consistent, right? It's like stepping on the scale. It doesn't really tell you much, but if you step on it every single day, it kind of can tell you the story. So sessions and cost per session. Cost per session is the cost of driving the traffic. This number is important because this can tell you how efficient you are at what you're doing in terms of your advertising efforts. Cost of acquisition, which is how much it costs you to convert a sale. Click-through rate and conversion rate, those are your conversion metrics. And then this is the biggest number at the bottom. Most people don't look at this number. Most people are like, I have a target ACOS of 15% or target TACOS of 15%. And I'm like, what if I got you a 20% TACOS and your profit doubled? Do you want that, yes or no? Everyone says yes. So I'm like, okay, so why does TACOS matter? Profit is what matters. So yeah, I covered this. You need something like this. I developed this initially in Google Sheets because no analytics software is doing it. Now we did our custom development software with My Real Profit. They did it for us. But basically, the way that I like to see things is tracking day by day with a week summary. And the weeks are exactly the same. So it's like starts at Monday, ends at Sunday. And I'm looking at how things change over time. Now, the reason is you can see very clearly we were spending like 37, 46, 76, and then now all of a sudden 132, 139, 133. So you can see the trending of what's happening. Your ad spend is changing. What's happening to your sessions? Sessions are going up. What's happening to your total sales? Total sales are going up. What about your conversion rate? What about your profit? So if you don't have all of your metrics right there, and something that you're not seeing here is when we make changes, like if we changed our main image, we would go on that day, whatever, February, and then we would say on the click-through rate or conversion rate, whichever one, and we'll right-click and put a comment and say, we changed the main image to this. So now, all of a sudden, if I'm looking at my conversion rate and it's 20%, 20%, 20%, 23%, 23%, 23%, I know what happened. And remember, the things that I'm looking at, right, is driving traffic, so increasing my spend and increasing my sessions, more people coming into the listing, increasing my click-through rate, so getting a better click-through rate and increasing my conversion rate. And then all of that will have an impact on the profit. And I'll talk about the different phases of advertising that we go through. But having really good analytics is important. And you know, you can take a screenshot of this, or I have a booth, come text me, or come to me, I'll text you a link that has like an empty template of this, and you can fill it out yourself. So anyways, tracking your numbers is crucial, because without tracking all of your numbers, you're not gonna understand the full story. When we're, like, as I've done more and more PPC, you wanna focus on one thing at a time. And so I'm either focusing on driving more traffic, so I'm taking actions to increase this ad spend and get more sessions, or I keep everything the same in terms of ad spend. I'm focused on improving my click-through rate. So testing one thing at a time. How can I get it for the exact same traffic that I have right now? How can I get more sessions, more people into the listing? Or how can I improve my conversion rate? Whether, let's test dropping the price. Let's test a different image. Let's add a video, something like that. So this is the automated version of it. Now, let's start with conversion rate. So we said Amazon advertising or Amazon sales in general are two things, traffic and conversions. I'm gonna start with conversions. Conversions is obviously the driving force of revenue. It's like a multiplier. You have traffic, you send that traffic to the page, the conversion rate is what converts it into actual dollars. Let's talk about the different things. Now, let's start with click-through rate. So remember, at the top of the funnel, you have impressions. People are seeing your ads, and then they're deciding to click on you. So what are the factors that affect the click-through rate? There's the badges, so Amazon's Choice Badge or Bestseller Badge. If you have an opportunity to get the Bestseller Badge, even if it's gonna cost you a lot of money, you should 100% do it, because we've seen a massive uptick in sales the second that we got our Bestseller Badge. Main image. So you'll notice this main image, it takes up the whole space. It has the product, it has a box. A lot of people don't use the box because it's like, what's the point of having a box, right? What's the point of having packaging? Here's a hack. So first hack, right? Take your main image, and you see how it says energy and focus in real big? It's actually not that big on the product. So you can manipulate your 3D render to show what matters to the people who are buying this product. So obviously this is caffeinated gum. So caffeinated gum, I want energy and focus. So I'm gonna put energy and focus really big on my product, like my actual container of the product, even though it's not as big. And you see how 12 mints is really big and bold? Again, same thing. This is all manipulation. This is not actually what it looks like in real life. And then the box doesn't really exist. The box is there, and this is a second opportunity for us to show, and I don't think we did that good of a job with the box, but here you can add logos like L-theanine, whatever. We can put like vegan, gluten-free, no sugar, things like that. So the box is a second opportunity for you to showcase the benefits, and the value proposition of your product without actually it being on the box. Because no one's gonna buy the box and be like, oh man, the box looks different than what I bought on Amazon. They're just looking at that container and saying, I hope that it looks very close to what I purchased. Now, the words being a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, you adding a sentence that's not actually on there, no one's gonna catch on. And then adding the eye candy, which is, you see the little, the gummies plus the mint, that's gonna help a lot. Now, you can use a tool like PickFu or Product Pinion. If you're uncertain if your main image is really good and if it's gonna win against competitors, you can take your main image, take your competitors' main images, and then run polls and see which of these products would you buy if you were buying caffeinated gum, and why. And then before ever being on Amazon, you can have people tell you why they would buy others. You want to have the most eye-catching main image. Next thing that matters is title. So having a title that's readable, but the most important thing is having the right keywords there. Data Dive is an incredible tool that we use. They're outside, so they can show you how they do it. But basically, nootropic, energy, caffeine mints, main keywords, that's what we want right in the beginning. Then you have we didn't mention this, but where it says chewable 12-count pack of 6, that's important, because if it's like a pack of 6, pack of 12, whatever, you wanna make sure that that's pretty accurate. Then you have star rating and reviews. Self-explanatory. The better your star rating, the more your reviews, the better that you're gonna get, the better your click-through rate's gonna be. going from 4-star to 4.5-star has a massive impact. So if you're stuck at 4.1 or 4.2, I would really make a massive push to getting reviews to get to a 4.3 because it's gonna make a big difference on your click-through rate. Price, self-explanatory. Price and the price per count. So for a period of time, I'm wondering, I was like a $23.99 and my competitors were like $34.99. And they were beating me. And we had like very similar reviews and everything. And I kept asking myself why. And then I ran a poll and it turns out that they like lied on their thing. So it said that they were like $28 per ounce, 28 cents per ounce. And I was like 35, even though mine had more servings and was cheaper. But they like did something to make it look like theirs was cheaper. And I realized, well, obviously people are on Amazon and they're like looking for the best price. So something to pay attention to if you're like have multiple servings or multiple sizes or whatever, that like price per something matters. Prime badge and shipping time, crucial. You know, if you're trying to do FBM, you're gonna lose against everyone who's FBA. If everyone on the search results is FBM, that's fine. Look at your shipping time, make sure it makes sense. If everyone's FBA and you're trying to fulfill, you know, FBM is fulfilled by merchant, FBA is fulfilled by Amazon, you will not win. The Prime badge always wins. Now let's talk about conversion rate. So now that people are into your listing, so we were talking about getting people into your listing. So you show up in the search results and they choose you. Now getting into your listing, what are the other things that matter? The rest of the images, I would say the rest of the images and the video and you know, creative on your listing is probably the most important thing. And if I can't click on your images and swipe and be sold the product, the images are not good enough. I should not need to go anywhere else to understand if this product is compatible, if it's sugar-free, if it's gluten-free, if it's this, if it's that. Everything needs to be right there in the images. Images need to be, you know, images with text call-outs that are like, does this, has this benefit, has that benefit, and it needs to communicate the value proposition. So it needs to basically explain why this product is better than everyone else's product. So that's images. Video is the same thing. There's a lot of times we've added a video of someone opening the product and using the product and explaining it, and conversion rate went up a lot because people then like start saying, oh, I'm just like this person who bought this product. This product's for me. So utilize the videos. You can have 4 or 5 videos. Title, you know, again, must be keyword rich, should read well, and should cover kind of the main benefits that we're looking for. I would say SEO matters a little bit more, you know, so if you have to like make it sound a little bit worse for the sake of SEO, do that. But try and cover the main things that matter. And then bullet points, this is another opportunity for SEO and adding anything else that, especially like compatibility, things like that. That's where, you know, I would add that stuff. Make sure that your bullet points, again, explain why this product is better than everyone else's product. The way people buy on Amazon is, I'm sure everyone's done this, right? You type in a keyword, electrolyte powder, you open up a few, and then you start looking at all of the reasons why one is not right for you, right? You're like, well, this one, you know, has too much sugar, I don't want it. This one, the reviews were bad, I don't want it. This one, the price is too high, you know, versus the other one, I'm not gonna get that one. And then you end up with one and you end up buying it. That's usually like how it works. So you wanna make sure that you remove all doubts.
This video is brought to you by Trivium. Trivium is a company run by my buddy Mina Elias, and they specialize in running Amazon ads. So if you feel a little intimidated by running Amazon advertising by yourself, or if you find that your existing ads aren't converting as well as you'd like, go over to triviumco.com and get a free audit of your account. They'll go over your account with a fine-tooth comb and tell you how you need to improve. Once again, that's triviumco.com.
Then you have the A+ content. This is your second opportunity to sell your product through creative, your second and probably like last opportunity. So make sure, again, you know, big text, refresh your mind, we're on a mission. This is a little bit higher in the A+ content. This is like the brand one. But again, this is just why is this product better than everyone else's and the value propositions. Then some social proof stuff. So you have questions and reviews. This is a hack that I did, but it worked pretty well. I took my buyer account and I asked 3 questions a day every single day until I hit about 150 questions on my listing. I went into all of my other competitors' listings, I opened up their questions, and I found what everyone else was asking for. Because if they asked it on that listing, they're probably wondering about it on this listing. And I answered every single question. You can also use this to ask questions like, how does this compare to your competitor? And put your competitor name, which links your product to your competitor's product, through the name and through the SEO. And then you have a chance to answer, why is this product different than like RevGum? And you're like, well, we have no sugar and L-theanine, et cetera, et cetera. How much caffeine per mint? Obviously very important question. You don't want 200 milligrams of caffeine per mint. So answering questions like that is crucial. The more the better, in my opinion. And then reviews, self-explanatory. Try and add a lot of images and videos if possible. This is gonna have to happen through incentivization. Rarely do people, look at that first picture. Like, rarely is someone posting a review on Amazon like that. And make sure that you're tracking click-through rate and conversion rate. So it's important that whenever you're doing any of this stuff, ad spend remains the same, because if your ad spend goes up and you change a main image, you don't know if the main image had an impact or not, because as ad spend goes up and you get more sessions, your conversion rate might drop because some of the traffic might not be qualified. So conversion rate drops, your main image conversion rate goes up, ends up canceling out, you don't know what happened. So try and keep traffic and ad spend the same while testing one thing at a time, and track your click-through rate and conversion rate and see how the different things are impacting that. Okay, let's talk about traffic now. So we've covered that, right? Because the reason that I want to cover that first is you can have the best PPC campaigns ever in the world. Nothing's going to happen. People are going to come into your listing and they're going to be like, okay, this sucks, I don't want to buy this, and leave. And so you end up spending money and not making sales. So let's talk about traffic. Monitoring traffic, we talked about analytics, same thing. Main things here that I'm monitoring is my ad spend, and my sessions and cost per session. Those are the 3 main KPIs. My ad spend is how much I'm spending, obviously. Sessions is the number of people coming to the listing, and the cost per session is how much am I paying for each person to come into the listing. Sessions combines organic and paid, and I don't care, right? Because I told you that I believe that organic and paid are tied in together, and it's very hard to actually separate them out. So I just combine them and say, okay, at this PPC spend, I have this many sessions. At that PPC spend, I have that many sessions. If your cost per session is going down, you're actually being more efficient with your traffic. So you're getting, more people into your listing at a lower cost. So sometimes your sales will drop. You look at your cost per session, you're like, my cost per session is pretty stable. What happened? It's probably your conversion rate. So that's why I measure that metric. Now, 2 phases of PPC that I like to operate in after launching. First phase is scaling. So I used to do a lot of different actions at the same time, right? Launch a new campaign because it's a profitable search term. Let's try it out. I would add a negative because this keyword's not working. I would lower the bids here. And then all of these things were working against each other. So I said, okay, I need to have very clear one direction on what I'm doing with my ads. First direction is scaling. I need my ad spend to go up. I need my sessions and my traffic to go up. And I want my revenue to go up. So that's what I care about. I care about discovering new, search terms and new keywords and new campaigns that are going to drive traffic profitably. Some of them are going to work, some of them are not going to work. So then we move into the optimization phase. Everything that's working, I like to keep it. Everything that didn't work, I'm going to lower the bids, add negatives, whatever. So during the scaling phase, what I'm doing is I'm launching new campaigns. So, going to the search term report. I'll identify keywords with between 1 to 20% ACOS. Unique search terms that I'm not already targeting in whatever match type, and then launch them in their own campaigns. Keywords that are profitable, like, let's say between 1 to 30% ACOS, I'm going to increase the bids. If I look at the placement report and there are certain campaigns with placements that are performing better, so top of search, first page is performing better than rest of search, increase the bid by placement. So launch campaigns, increase bids, increase budgets of my campaigns, increase bid by placement. All of that will result in more spend, more sessions, and more revenue. And then I move into the optimization phase. Okay, what worked, let's keep it. What didn't work, let's remove it. So let's look at the exact keywords and product targeting like ASIN, campaigns. Lower the bids if they're not doing well. So let's say anything between 60% plus or 70% plus ACOS, let's lower the bids. For auto broaden phrase, go into the search term, identify search terms that spent, for example, $15 with no sales, or have 80% ACOS or more. Extract those search terms, add them as negatives in those campaigns so they stop spending money. And basically the goal here, and look at the placement reports. So if I said, oh, top of search looks good, let's increase the bid by placement by 50%. So I'm willing to spend 50% more on that bid to show up in that placement. And then I look again at the placement report and it didn't go the way that I expected it to. Let's drop that number down from like 50% back to 0. And so all of the actions are to drop my ad spend, keep the stuff that was profitable. What's gonna happen is your ad spend is gonna go down, your revenue is gonna go down a little bit, but your conversion rate is gonna go up and your profits are gonna go up. And then you operate in this scale, optimize. So when you scale, your revenue goes up, your profit goes down. When you optimize, your revenue goes down, profit goes up, but it's higher than it was before. Scale, optimize, and it's almost like a step, like a staircase. So again, what should you expect? Increased revenue and less profit when you're scaling, which is fine. Because you're testing, and then when you're optimizing, decrease spend and more profit because now you've stopped testing and you're now operating in like a profit state. So yeah, metrics to monitor, more PPC spend, more sessions, more sales, cost per session is gonna go up, again, because some of the traffic that you're increasing the bids and they're not generating more new sessions. Click-through rate, conversion rate will go down, profit rate will go down. And then when you optimize, it's the opposite. Lower ad spend, sessions will go down, not that much. Sales will go down a little bit. Cost per session is gonna go down, which is gonna mean we're more efficient with our traffic. Click-through rate and conversion rate goes up, profit goes up. So those are the two modes to operate in, scaling and optimizing. Any questions here? Because I know this was a lot. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, good question. So the question was, when you're launching, how much time do you spend scaling before making changes? When I'm launching, usually the first 2 weeks, I will not touch anything unless it's spent a lot of money without any sales. So even if it spent money and it's not profitable, like it made one sale, that's fine. But if it didn't make any sales at all, usually I have a tolerance, which is the cost of my product. So let's say I'm selling a $30 product. If it's spent $30 and didn't make any sales, I'll start optimizing that. Everything else I'll keep. I like to continuously scale for about 30 to 45 days, which is the honeymoon phase. The goal here is the maximum amount of sales velocity and selling the most number of units, because in that honeymoon phase, the more that you show Amazon that you're selling better, your organic rank starts going up. And then generally, like once we're mature, the scaling phase is usually 2 weeks until we see like a plateau in the revenue growth. And then optimization will take about a week to optimize, and then we'll hold the optimization for like another 2 or 3 weeks so we can reap that like higher profit. Because if you scale and then you immediately optimize, you're not enjoying like that period of higher profit. Because as soon as you hit higher profit, you scale again. Now, some people, like VC-backed companies, are like, just keep scaling, and then we'll take a break like for a week or so just to clean up some stuff, and then scale because they have like a different goal. They're like, don't focus on profit until our revenue is like 5 million or 6 million. I'm like, okay, cool. But most of us, like we don't want that. We want to enjoy our profits. Any other questions? Yeah. So the question is, if you have multiple SKUs, all similar keywords, how do you stop them from competing one another? Are they variations? Okay. So I'll answer for variations and for non-variations. For variations, you want all variations in the same campaign, and then you go and look at the advertised product report, and you look at which variations have the best click-through rate. And usually those are the ones that you want to show more, because at the end of the day, your ads, whatever you're showing to everyone, needs to be that product that has the best click-through rate, so people come into your listing. And then once they're in, they can choose whichever one they want. And so that's for variation. For non-variations, I don't worry about competition. You just let them all share the same keywords. Amazon's gonna show whichever one is gonna, and like you treat each one like as its own unique product, because this one might show up in position 1, do well, the other one might show up in position 1, do bad, so you bring it down to position 15. And so just follow the data. Don't worry about them competing. I think it's a good thing if you look at like bulletproof coffee, you'll type in a keyword and then they cover the whole page. And it's okay, because at the end of the day, you care about making sales for your brand, not for a certain product. Okay, cool. Let's talk about DSP. So we want to layer DSP on top of PPC. So once your PPC is kind of in a good, mature, steady state, you want to add DSP. What is DSP? So DSP is programmatic ads. Basically, DSP is another one of Amazon's advertising programs where you can utilize Amazon's audiences and advertise on and off Amazon. In the same placements that sponsored display show up and off of Amazon. So you can, third-party publisher sites, places in Google and things like that. So why is this amazing? Because I think for me, why this is amazing is because you can take advantage of audiences on Amazon. For example, you can take advantage of everyone who's purchased your product in the last year, but hasn't repurchased in the last 60 days. If you're a supplement, you're like, okay, who's bought from me in the past? These people. Okay, who hasn't bought from me in the last 60 days? Exclude them. Who hasn't bought from me in the last, or who hasn't bought from my competitors? Let's get those out. If they bought from my competitors, get those out. And now you have everyone who's bought from you but hasn't repurchased at all from anyone. Let's hit them up again. Let's show our ads. And you can be very granular with where you show. So we're like, okay, let's show on Amazon web app. Let's show on Amazon mobile, like Google Chrome. Let's show up on desktop, and let's see what performs better. So we can get very granular. We can show on third-party publisher sites. We can show on different places, like blogs and stuff like that. So it's pretty powerful. When should you consider Amazon DSP? So once you've maximized sponsor ads and you're looking to build your a little bit more, I wouldn't say top of funnel, but more like your middle of funnel. So obviously it's very enticing because you can start retargeting people. So you can start retargeting everyone who's purchased from you in the past and cross-sell them or upsell them, or bring them back to buy again. Or you can retarget everyone who's viewed your product but hasn't purchased from you or your competitors. That's nice, but that's gonna dry up pretty quick. So then you go a step above and you're like, okay, how about everyone who's viewed my competitors' listings because maybe they saw my competitors from ads on Facebook or whatever, they came into their listing. So who's visited my competitors' listings but hasn't visited my listing and hasn't purchased from anyone, like they're still on the market. And so now you start building your top of funnel because people start coming into your listing, and then you have retargeting going. And so you start retargeting them. So you also want to make sure that you have a good conversion rate, because your conversion rate is going to be about 75% of PPC. So if your average ROAS is 4x on PPC, it's going to be like 3x on DSP. So if you can handle that, it's great because you're adding a lot more to your audience over time. So this is what the funnel looks like. This is, again, in my opinion of what the funnel should look like. It's not like a law. But at the bottom, you have retargeting, which is everyone who's viewed your product but hasn't purchased or purchased your competitors. Everyone who's purchased your product, cross-selling is everyone who's purchased your product. You send them another product that they would be interested in. And then loyalty, so everyone who has purchased your product in the last year but hasn't repurchased in the last 60 days, hasn't bought from your competitors, let's bring them back. Then you go a little bit in the middle of the funnel, which is competitor targeting and complementary product targeting. So this is people who are complementary, if they bought this product, they want to buy our product, or they are competitors, so viewed but hasn't purchased. Because obviously anyone who's purchased, they're done. And then at the top, is very top of the funnel, people who are in market or people who fit the demographic. This is, again, all using Amazon's data. It's very, very broad though. It's almost like shooting in the dark, really. The way that you want to display your DSP analytics, you don't want to look at what DSP is telling you, because DSP will be like, oh yeah, your ROAS is 8x or whatever. You want to look at what's your PPC spend, what's your DSP spend, combine that and look at how your total sales are changing. So this is okay, what if we decided to run YouTube advertising? Or what if we decided to do billboard advertising? How can you really measure that? You can't. So the simplest way is to say, okay, before billboards, I was spending $1,000 and making $2,000 in sales. After billboards, I'm spending $1,500 and now I'm making $4,000 in sales. So you're like, okay, the $500 more that I spent on billboards generated that additional revenue. And that's how we want to operate with DSP. And I'm going to cover Google right after this. It's the exact same thing. It's very, very hard to tell the difference, right? Because it's DSP is going to say one thing, PPC is going to say one thing, organic is going to say one thing. How do you tell who's accurate, who's not? The easiest thing is to, again, what can you feel, right? I can feel my ad spend. I can feel my DSP ad spend, because that's how much I'm paying to Amazon. And I can look at my total sales. And a lot of times you'll notice that your blended ROAS will go down, but your overall revenue will go up. which is fine, right? At the end of the day, when you're a $1 million company, you have 30% margins. When you're a $10 million company, you have 20% margins. It's fine. It's, at the end of the day, like the profit's more overall. And finally, layer in Google Ads. So we've been adding Google Ads as a ranking strategy only, not as a strategy to drive sales from people who are on Google on Amazon. And a couple of good things here is increase keyword organic rank, increase sales, and then the 10% Amazon attribution. So some of the traffic is going to convert. It's not going to be profitable, but you're going to get a 10% commission on everyone who converts. The tools that we use are PixelMe or Amped. Try both, see which one you like, demo both of them. Basically, the keywords that we're looking for are keywords that have good search volume on Amazon, good search volume on Google. Your current rank is between 30 to 50, so you're not really at the top, but it's not like you're in position 100 and it's a Hail Mary, you want to go from position 100 to position 1. Your competitors have a high organic rank for that keyword, and you have a good conversion share in the search query performance report for that keyword. So I'll break it down again. It has to have good traffic on both Google and Amazon. If it doesn't have good traffic on Amazon, it doesn't even matter, right? What's the point of ranking well for it? If it doesn't have good traffic on Google, there's not going to be enough traffic to drive traffic. Your rank 30 to 50, so low but not too low, and you want to bring it up to like 10 or 15. Your competitors are ranked high organically, which means they're making money from it. There's a good opportunity. And when you go into the search query performance report, you look at the conversion share in the search query performance report, and you look at the total number of conversions, and it's good. It's a good number. It's not like everyone who's coming in to your listing from that keyword is barely converting. Then why would you do it on Google? Why would they convert on Google if they're barely converting from Amazon? So that's how we're choosing those keywords, and then we're monitoring obviously performance. At the end of the day, we can monitor rank, we can monitor all of these amazing things, but again, it comes down to how much money did I spend ranking that keyword on Google, and how much did my total sales increase? So with everything being kept the same, I spent an additional $2,000 that month. How much did my total sales go up? Sometimes there's a delay, so don't rush. Don't be like, I spent $2,000 this month, I only made $1,000 more this month. I'm ending it, because sometimes it takes a little bit of a delay. By the time the organic rank goes up and you start feeling the benefits of it, might be an additional month. So give it like a couple months and look if your total sales went up or not. Goal is profit. At the end of the day, the goal is profit. It's not ROAS, it's not ACOS, it's not anything. It's profit. It's a dollar amount in profit. When you look at your numbers, your sale price minus your Amazon fees, minus your cost of goods sold, minus your advertising, you're left with a dollar amount in profit. The goal is to maximize that number. So don't be distracted by any other metric or anything. That's the main KPI. 1% better every day. Try to get a little bit better traffic, a little bit better, more sessions, more impressions, more sessions, a little bit better click-through rate, more people coming into your listing, a little bit better conversion rate, more of those people converting into sales. And if you want a free audit, I'm happy to audit your Amazon advertising. That's it, guys. Any questions? By the way, this audit is like a 45-minute long video, which covers like everything in your account. Pretty valuable, and it could also be like a list of action items that you're like, okay, I need to improve this, improve this, improve this. You can work out one thing at a time. All right, questions?
My dear friend, you're amazing.
Thank you so much.
Loved it. Awesome, very thorough presentation. Question, Amazon Choice Badge. I suppose that you were talking about Amazon Choice Badge and then ranking also for it. What are the expected ACOS when we are looking to, I want to have this keyword dominate on it?
Yeah, impossible to answer. Like every single, like I'll repeat the question in case anyone didn't hear. Amazon's Choice Badge, how much does it cost? What do you expect to get the Choice Badge? It's impossible to tell. Like it's hard to even know how many conversions you need to get the badge. So I would say if you start spending more money on that keyword, put it in its own exact keyword campaign, maybe phrase keyword campaign, and you notice in 14 days you haven't really gotten the badge and you start to make more conversions, it's probably going to be too costly. Bestseller badge usually costs like tens of thousands of dollars to get, because you're going to need to make a really big jump in revenue to beat the person, and you're going to need to maintain it for a while. So it's pretty costly. Yeah. We have another question? Yeah.
Thanks for a good presentation. Great one. Quick question, just can you talk a little bit about the conversion ratio per different segments? Like you mentioned 5% is low.
Yes. Okay, so the question is, can you mention like what's a good conversion rate? All right, we're gonna get into some math. So there's no good and bad conversion rate. It's like a very hard to tell. But what you can do is you can look at your cost per acquisition. So you have $10 in profit per unit. Let's assume you have $10 in profit per unit. And your cost of acquisition consists of two things. Your cost of traffic, so let's say you drive 100 sessions, for $100 in PPC, that's $1 per session. Let's say your conversion rate is 10%, so you need 10 sessions, 1 divided by 10%, you need 10 sessions to make one conversion. So $1 per session times 10 sessions to make one conversion is $10 cost per acquisition. So if you have $10 in profit and $10 cost per acquisition, you're not making any money. If you want $5 in profit after ads, you need to double your conversion rate or half your cost of traffic or a bit of both. So that's how you should look at your conversion rate, is like, okay, here's my current cost per acquisition, here's where I want to get it to. I have two factors that I can work with. You're gonna set some realistic goals. So you're profitable and conversion rate is 1.5. Yeah, so then you're like, okay, if I got it to 2 or 2.5, how much would my CPA be? And if your CPA is not going to change that much, then you probably need to cut your traffic more than you need to improve your conversion rate. Because like 1.5% conversion rate I've seen is great if you're like a $80, $90, $100 product. But it's very bad if you're a $30 product. So it really depends on, it's a factor of your cost of traffic and your conversion rate and your cost of acquisition. Because sometimes it's okay to have a 2% CPA because you have a $60 profit per unit. But if you have only 10, you need like, 4 times more. So unfortunately, it's all tied. So it's like, how much profit do you want and how do you get there through the conversion rate and through the cost of traffic? Sorry if that's not an easy answer.
That's all the time we have for Mina. He will be running a roundtable. So if you want a PPC audit, he will be running a table at 3:30. Or if you have any additional questions for him, he'll be available.
Yeah, booth is right outside. Ask me anything. I'm here all day.
Thanks, Mina.
Thank you, guys.